Hello and welcome to Lake, a show about our beautiful city of Bellevue. I'm your host, Robin Steele. We're coming to you today from Kelsey Creek Farm Park. Did you know that this wonderful family park began as a dairy farm? It's true, and today we're celebrating the unique history of this very special place. We'll also share what you can do if you're unable to safely evacuate during an emergency. And we'll introduce you to some of the wonderful artists from the 2022 Bellevue Arts Fair. We start with a look at just how Kelsey Creek Farm Park became the beautiful public space we enjoy today.
The anniversaries that we're celebrating this year is 100 years as Kelsey Creek being a founding dairy farm for the city of Bellevue and the residents in the area. And then the other one is in 50 years as an active park since 1972. We're celebrating 100 years of Kelsey Creek Farm being recognized as a founding dairy farm that used to be called Twin Valley. The farm actually started in the 1920s. When the Dewey family came, the dairy farm started out with only 30 cows. They built a barn, and then in 1933, the barn burnt down to the ground. And the fun part about this piece of history is that the Sears and Roebuck catalog used to have barn kits. And so this original barn that's behind me right now, the smaller one, is actually a kit that was made by a bunch of farmhands. In the 1950s, the park was purchased by Mr. Fisher and Nettie Fisher. And they were coming as a retired couple, but it sounds like Mr. Fisher was pretty busy in lots of different areas. He wanted to do cattle, so he was raising Hereford cattle. He had 20 to maybe 30 in there, and they were great for the kids in the neighborhood. A lot of the kids in the neighborhood came over and got to know the Fisher family. As the Fisher family decided that they were going to be done for their retirement, the neighborhood decided to campaign and ask the city of Bellevue to purchase this large piece of property and to keep it in the Parks Department system. The city of Bellevue did go through the process, and in 1968 they did purchase the land, and in 1972 the park opened and was open to the public, and it's been like this forever since. The park is open year-round. We never shut down. We don't shut down for holidays. The public can come anytime they want to be at the park, see the farm animals, or just even go take a hike or enjoy the open space here at Kelsey. Kelsey Creek Park is about 150 acres. It has the open space, it has your wetlands, it has a forest tree line that you can go all the way up for a hike, and then the part at the center is where the farm animals are located with the historic barns. And so the public can come and with their families have that special opportunity to see the animals. Most of the times you can get close enough, you can pet on some of the smaller ones and join in on some of our activities and programs too. In the summertime, we have about 6 different day camps that take place. We also have a very large teen program that comes out in the summertime to be with us too. Kelsey Creek has a variety of different activities and programs, and one of the biggest ones we do is 2 special events each year. The first event is what we call sheep shearing. Years ago, when they started the park, back in the 70s, the caretakers had to have somebody come and shear the sheep. So then we saw how popular it was, and we decided maybe we should make this into an activity. So we tried it during our school breaks, and it got big. So then we created it into an event. The other event we do is Farm Fair, and that's usually the first Saturday of October. And that's a great one too, because it's just really kind of your heritage, your farm activities. Again, we do the wagon rides with the tractors. We have a huge pumpkin field, and kids just love to get out. Families love to get out and be with the farm. The most important thing is we're building memories. We're on our 4th generation of families that have been coming back to Kelsey Creek Farm. So it's really great to see them come back and tell their stories.
I have visited this park for over 40 years, and I never knew that the barn behind us was built from a Sears and Roebuck catalog kit. Another fun fact, the woman in the picture of the park from the 1970s is my own mom. Hi, Mom. Thanks for introducing me to this great park. Next, we've all been told in case of fire we should evacuate a building immediately. But what should you do if you use a wheelchair or have limited mobility for any reason? Watch this next segment and learn a few tips that can literally make the difference between life and death.
Hello, I'm Heather Wong with the Bellevue Fire Department. Today we're sharing some tips to help you survive a fire or other emergency when you need to evacuate a building or find a safe alternative. There are several types of emergencies that may require emergency evacuation, such as a fire. Of course, we are all familiar with an alarm going off and being told we should evacuate. If you can safely evacuate, you should do so. There are some things you should consider ahead of time, such as where you are. Are you in a commercial building, at home, or in another space, such as a hotel? Wherever you are, take time to plan what you will do. Plan your escape routes and route alternatives before an emergency happens. Though it is often best to evacuate in an emergency, there are some situations when sheltering in place is the best option. People who use wheelchairs, other people with limited mobility due to age, overall health or injury, or anyone without access to an escape route should consider sheltering in place. It is critical that we highlight the fact that if you cannot safely and efficiently exit a building, it actually may be safer for you to shelter in place than try to exit. Even if you don't consider yourself to be disabled, if you have to struggle to get down the stairs for any reason, it not only poses a risk to you, it poses a risk to other people trying to evacuate and impedes the first responders. If sheltering in place is your best option, we will show you how easy it is in just a minute. But first, whether you will evacuate or decide to shelter in place, there are some things that everyone can do to increase their odds of survival. Have working smoke alarms. Have sprinklers. Did you know that the risk of dying in a fire decreases by 81% if your building is equipped with fire sprinklers? Always sleep with your bedroom door closed. This is to prevent fire from entering and also to block the smoke. This is important because smoke inhalation causes more deaths than fire itself. See two rooms in the same house fire. The room on the left was a room with the door open. The room on the right had the door closed. Know the address where you are, whether you're at work, home, or visiting someplace else. Plan your best options, escape routes, or whether you plan to shelter in place. Communicate your plans with others, including your coworkers, other household members, friends, family. Know when and how you plan to reunite if you are separated from others. Keep emergency contact information up to date and have out-of-state contacts on the list in case local lines are too overwhelmed. These are a few tips everyone can follow to help you stay safe in an emergency. Now that I've shared some general tips for emergencies and talked about when sheltering in place may be the very best option for survival, we want to share just how to do this. To help with this, I want to introduce you to Blaine Ampson, the Americans with Disabilities Act and Title VI Civil Rights Administrator for the City of Bellevue. Blaine is here to share more about why sheltering in place is a great option and take us through how to shelter in place effectively.
Thank you so much, Heather. I am so excited to be here. I wanted to share this information with you today because ensuring that people with disabilities have access isn't just my job. As you can see, I use a wheelchair. And I also live in a high-rise condominium. What I've learned about sheltering in place has been extremely reassuring to me, and I want to pass along this great information. Sheltering in place is really easy, but it will work best if you plan ahead whenever possible. By creating and practicing my own shelter-in-place plan and sharing it with the people around me, I breathe a little bit easier knowing that even in situations as hectic as a fire alarm, I am still in control of my own safety. The first thing you need to know is where you're located. What is the address of the building you're in, home or office, and where exactly in the building are you going to be sheltering in place? Obviously, this can change depending on the emergency, but scope out a good spot where you may be most safe and comfortable while you wait for help to arrive. In my home, I often shelter in place in my bedroom. When I'm at work at City Hall, my plan is to go to the stairwell. Tell people around you what your plans to shelter in place are and make sure they understand your plan, where you will go during the emergency, what you'll do when you get there, and after you've safely evacuated, and what everyone else will do. My family knows that I will stay in place, where I will be, and that they will exit and maintain contact with me via text. Next, you're going to take action. When you hear an alarm go off, call 911 to report your need to shelter in place and share your location with the dispatcher. Remember to remain calm and be prepared to share that you are in a building you cannot safely evacuate from and that the alarm is going off. The 911 dispatcher will likely ask you follow-up questions. Answer those questions and follow all instructions. In case of a fire, I always close the doors to the room I'm in, and you should too. Close your doors to block smoke from entering the room. Keep your phone on and near you, which of course you've kept charged just in case of an emergency. And then shelter in place and stay in the location that you reported to 911 and wait for assistance, unless you're in immediate danger. If you need to change your location in order to remain safe, be sure to call 911 again and report your new location. If I am at home, I let 911 know that I'm in the condo on the northwest corner of the building and that the room I'm sheltering in has windows right behind the patio, which are easily accessed from the street. That's really all there is to it, Heather. Yep. I can't tell you how much better I feel knowing that I'm prepared for an emergency. I've told you my shelter-in-place plan. Take some time to think about your own and share it with those that you live with. Having one in place is a weight off my mind, and I hope you'll feel better about it once you have your own.
Thank you, Blaine.
You bet.
Being prepared can literally be the difference between life and death. So please remember these tips. Make a plan, share your plan, follow your plan, and survive. For more tips on preparing for emergencies, please visit fire.bellevuewa.gov.
This is Benny. Thank you, Blaine and Heather, for sharing this really important information. Now we take you to see this year's Bellevue Arts Museum Arts Fair. Until the pandemic, the art fair had been part of Bellevue Summer Fun since it began as an art display in 1947. After a 2-year hiatus, this classic fair returned to Bellevue, and as you'll see, artists and visitors of all ages thoroughly enjoyed the return of this beloved event.
It's really exciting to be back this year. Our artists really want to be in front of people. It's the best way to sell art. And we haven't had a show since 2019. So it's like seeing family, it's like seeing friends. We love that we're getting the community together.
It's a great show, and the great thing about Bellevue is that, first of all, it's a beautiful area. Secondly, the people that come really know art. And so you sort of have a very sophisticated audience. So it's a perfect place to come.
The variety and quality of art here is fantastic, and it draws so many qualified patrons to the show and people who really appreciate art, and I always do really well here with my fountains.
We have about 300 artists. We also have a ton of stages. We have a ton of kids programming.
We've only went to the chalk part of the fair today, but it's amazing so far. It's really cool.
We are the 4th generation in our family as a weavers, and we love to do this art show because we would love to share our weaving tradition. And in our artwork, you see a lot of beauty that represents the Pacific Northwest.
We would love to share our weaving tradition, and especially when kids come and they're interested.
Yeah, I was attracted to this because we had taken a trip down to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and we had seen similar weavings, and I wanted to show them it was very interactive, and I wanted to show them how it was done. It's kind of fun to show them the process of how it works.
Good job. Art is so important because it's a way to connect people. With our show, we represent over 30 states. And so not only are you seeing what our regional artists are doing, you're also seeing what people are doing all over the U.S.
I've wanted to be a sculptor since the age of 4. And at the age of 40, I made a life change, went back to school, got a second bachelor's and an MFA degree, and I am doing what I love to do. My work is bronze. I do all of it myself. This is what keeps me going. And I turned 80 this year, so I still have at least another 20 to go.
Just a really fun weekend for us all to be together. It's a great conversation starter and it's a great connector.
That was such a fun event. We thank you for joining us today on Lake to Lake to learn more about Bellevue. If you have any feedback or questions for us, please email us anytime at btv@bellevuewa.gov. Also, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up with the city's latest video news and information. I'm Robin Steele. From all of us at the City of Bellevue and Bellevue Television, thank you for watching Lake to Lake.